Who's ready to go to the beach? It is time for another midweek mini, and we are headed down to Florida. Thank you, listener Katie at KatieMC1215, and we will put that Instagram handle in our show notes for submitting Destin, Florida to the show.
Yes, I'm really excited about this one because this is probably my favorite part of the country, at least that I've seen so far. It's the one area we keep returning to. I haven't actually specifically gone to Destin since I was young, but we love that stretch of beach, that scenic highway 30A. It runs through all of these different beaches. You can get to Seaside Beach, Inlet Beach, Santa Rosa Beach, Alice Beach, Rosemary Beach, and we have stayed in Airbnbs in several of those throughout the years, and it's just a place that we keep returning to and a place that has a big part of my heart. It's just stunning water, white sand beaches. It's absolutely gorgeous. I feel like it's as close as you can get to the Caribbean without going to the Caribbean.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this area is known as the Emerald Coast, and it has stunning water. We're talking truly beautiful water, that tropical vibe that you think of, but it has white sand, definitely the prettiest beaches in the continental United States, I think. I mean, there's different types of beaches, right? Sometimes rocky beaches are pretty, like up in Acadia National Park. But if you're thinking of like that summer beach trip and Caribbean vibe, this is the best you can do in the continental United States, this Panhandle Emerald Coast area of Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have quite a few recommendations for farther down, but we're going to start in Destin. You really could do this trip on either the Destin side or the Panama City beach side. And that 30A stretch runs in between both of them, but you can fly in either place. You've got Hyatt options in either place. Just do keep in mind, especially around the spring break and summer times, these turn into wild party towns. They are made for teens. I did it myself around 18. It is crazy. Don't let your teens go there without adults. It is not, 0 out of 10 would never let my child replicate that. If
I went in college, but I was very responsible. I went with a group and we were good college students, and we rented a house together. And the people, it was amazing that we were able to rent a house in 30A because they were like, we don't rent to college students. I'm not exactly sure how we did it. There were like 15 of us in a house, and it was incredible. And it was also the most sunburnt I have ever been in my entire life, because warning to you, the white sand is gorgeous, but it makes you get sunburned so much quicker and easier. And don't hesitate to reapply.
I don't think I wore any sunscreen on that trip.
Stop.
We were not good kids. There were like 8 of us in one like days in hotel room on the beach, just people on the floor, people on the beds. It was just chaos. It was absolute chaos. And I think I'd already moved out and had my own apartment at that point, so I was able to do whatever I wanted. But if there had been some adult in charge of me, they should never, ever have let a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds take this trip. How psychotic. But that is what you want to avoid if you're going with your family. So time of year is super important to consider, or stay somewhere along the 30A beaches, because it's a totally different vibe. Those do not get wild, no matter if you're there during spring break or not. It's a different category of people, different age of people, a lot more families. Airbnbs you can find, if they're not immediately in the fancy beaches like Rosemary Beach and Alice Beach, you can find some really, really nice Airbnbs within walking distance of the beaches that you can erase with your Capital One miles that are fairly affordable. So there are options.
But let's talk about the hotel booking options. So While not right in Destin, our listener Katie, who submitted this trip that she took with her family, she was just a little bit east in an area called Sandestin. So she stayed at the Hyatt Place Sandestin at Grand Boulevard. It's a Category 4 Hyatt, so you can still use a free night certificate if you have them. Off peak, this is going to be about 12,000 points. If it's peak time, it'll be 18,000 points a night. So that is where she stayed. Now, if you wanted to be on the Panama City side, then that's about 45 minutes east of Destin. You can do a incredible beachfront Hyatt place that is just a really fabulous option and gives you all the same beautiful water as Destin, similar feel to the other places we'll talk to today. But those are your two Hyatt options in this stretch of the world.
Yes. And also in terms of when to go weather wise, I have been, like I said, for spring break, but I've also been in April and in June, and we had great weather both times. If I'm remembering correctly, our April trip, there were days where we could not get in the water because of the tides and things like that and the currents.
Yes.
And so you're definitely going to want to do some research about the time of year you visit, just because if you're a person who wants to get in the ocean, like I am, you don't want to be bummed when you go to get in and you find that you can't. So also
Do
I
pay
did try.
attention to the rip currents. I actually planned this trip for my family, and then my son saw me watching a video about rip currents there, and he was like, "Absolutely not! I don't want to go there." It freaked him out so
Oh,
bad. I really feel bad that I scared him away from this beautiful area. But they do have very strong rip currents, so just pay attention
they do.
to what
Hmm.
any of the authorities say.
I can tell you on that highly, highly irresponsible 18-year-old trip I took, a friend and I decided to try to swim out to a very far buoy. And I have never actually thought I was going to die before, except when I tried to come back in and literally could make no progress. I felt like I was moving backwards, not forwards. It was incredibly scary. And it took us a very long time to get back in. I've never felt like that
You're
before. I
giving me
was
anxiety.
like,
And we are not
hi,
selling Destin well. We better get back to
this was
some good
Panama City
things.
Beach. But yes, no, it's an amazing place. It's the one place I keep going back. So, regardless of near death experiences, highly, highly recommend.
Okay, so let's get into some of the things you can do in this area of the country. So, Katie, our listener who submitted the trip idea, she recommends check on Viator for a Crab Island trip. So, Crab Island is a submerged sandbar party zone with floating food vendors and music. Really
Ooh,
fun little day trip.
that is so cool sounding. That's really fun. And I guess depending on the time of year will be what kind, like, are these going to be the spring breakers or are these going to be,
Sure.
adults who like to go to bed at 9 p.m.?
That's me.
That same. She said she was also really impressed with Henderson Beach State Park, which is a favorite for its natural beauty, clear waters, and quieter vibe compared to the more crowded spots. She said it is perfect for swimming, picnicking, or relaxing in the sun.
Another good option would be Baytown Wharf area. Katie really likes that. So that is a family-friendly resort village located within Sandestin Golf and Beach Resort in Miramar Beach. There's shopping boutiques. There's so many great dining options. There's tons of kids activity options like a Adventureland playground. There's the Baytown Carousel. There's Baytown Adventure Zone. So there's a lot of good stuff there in the Baytown Wharf area if you were staying over in Destin or Sandestin areas. And then all along that panhandle of Florida, people love parasailing. I have gone parasailing in Panama City in high school. I went parasailing. Maybe that's where I got the desire at the various earliest stages to go paragliding one day over in Switzerland. But I have been parasailing. There's jet skiing, paddleboarding, snorkeling, dolphin watching cruises. I mean, this is truly when people think, where should we go to the beach to get the full beach experience? And this area of Florida is it.
Yeah, for sure. And on the Panama City side, there is a state park called Camp Helen State Park. This is where my favorite family pictures of all time were taken. In fact, the last time we had family pictures, my daughter was, I don't know, 5. My brother took them, and they are so gorgeous and picturesque. And it is a beautiful state park. So that is down on the other side of all of the little 30A beaches towards Panama City, but not quite getting to Panama City Beach. So
Okay, that'd
that's
be
another
perfect if
option.
you were staying at that Hyatt place in Panama City.
Yes. Yeah, highly recommend. Okay, so for places to eat, Katie suggests Fudd Pucker's Beachside Bar and Grill. What a name. She said her kids love it, which is great. It's always good. It's always good to have recommendations that kids will actually eat and enjoy.
I actually had to double check this because I'm used to a chain restaurant called Fuddruckers. Have you heard of
We have
Fuddruckers?
that here. Yeah, we have
Yeah,
that
I
here
love
too.
Fuddruckers, and I was like, did she misspell that or autocorrect that from Fuddruckers? But it's different, and it is a place called Fudd Pucker's Beachside Bar and Grill.
Amazing. A few other places that you might want to check out: the Donut Hole Bakery Cafe, which sounds delicious, the food trucks at Destin Commons, and Pompano Joe's Seafood House, which has locations in Miramar and Panama City. And I have a few recommendations of my own to add if you're down on the Panama City side. There is a donut place also called Charlie's Delights. This used to be a donut truck that lived in Alice Beach, and I am actually not a big donut fan. There is a donut there. It is very simple. It's a sour cream donut. I know that sounds weird. I have never in my life enjoyed a donut so much. I dream about these donuts, and that's very unlike me. The truck has been turned into a physical location. So Charlie's Delights is in Alice Beach. Alice is spelled Alys, in case anybody is confused when they're Googling that. The other place also in Alice Beach is George's. Okay. George's is a pretty fancy restaurant. It's expensive. In my opinion, it is worth it. I had salt and pepper shrimp there that I also dream about. It's definitely one of those ones that you will have to start budgeting for in advance if you have a big family. Also, maybe not the best place if you have a picky family, but it is truly an incredible restaurant. So just wanted to throw those in there.
I love so this is the type of beach I like. Okay. I'm used to East Coast beaches. I have been to Destin, I've been to Panama City, but I predominantly spend a lot of my time at East Coast beaches. I grew up in a place called Fripp Island. Not grew up in. I grew up every summer going to Fripp Island in South Carolina, and that is a place that's not commercial at all. You ride bikes everywhere, you
Yes.
ride golf
Yes.
carts everywhere, you're counting deer on the island. That is the vibe of beach that I love the most versus like real commercial boardwalks with, carnival games and all that stuff. That stuff is cool too. But my personal favorite is let's ride bikes, let's have a golf cart, that kind of thing. And I think
Mhm.
that would be in that stretch of
Yes.
30A. I think that's what, tons of beautiful shopping boutiques and things. It's more commercial than, say, Fripp Island, but that is what I love. If I go back to this area, I would love to spend more time there.
Yeah, it is that small town vibe. And it's so fun. And a lot of the Airbnbs come with golf carts. So that's something to look
Yes.
into. Especially if you're going with multiple families and you can split a house of some kind with a golf cart, it's such a good, affordable option, especially if, all of you can be pooling your Capital One points and doing this together. I imagine you could take a really cool trip. And there's bike rental places everywhere. Again, some properties come with bikes that you can use. So this place is my favorite. I was so excited to see this submitted because I really wanted to talk about it. One other suggestion for things to eat: if you drive from Destin or from Panama City to Seaside Beach, there is this strip of Seaside where there are food trucks in Airstreams, and they are all delicious and so cute. It does get pretty popular and busy in the evening. So go a little earlier, figure out when things open and try to be there. I would say before the dinner rush starts, but I can personally attest for the grilled cheese food truck and the barbecue food truck that are there. I've had things from both and they're 10 out of 10.
Love a food truck. It's hard to beat a little strip of food trucks where everybody in the family can get what they want, what kind of food they
Yes.
want. They can be totally different. Everybody picks what they want and everybody enjoys them. They can get expensive though.
Yeah. Those boutique-y foods really add up at like $12 a plate, but worth it.
They sure do. Okay, guys.
Guys.
Well, that is the latest stop on the summer road trip. And next week, we are headed over to the East Coast to Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, love it. All right.
Get
See you here next time, guys. I am.
Bye, guys.
Bye. If you enjoyed this show today, please consider writing us a review or clicking 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcasts. And please subscribe and follow along so that you never miss an episode.
You can follow the podcast on Instagram or YouTube at Wonderland on Points Podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Family Travel for the Win with the number 4.
And you can find me on Instagram at Points to Wonderland.
If you're thinking about getting a new Travel Rewards credit card, consider using the links in our show notes. Using our links helps to support us and keep our podcast going so we can provide you with all the latest tips and tricks when it comes to traveling on points.
And if you aren't sure which card is right for you, shoot us an email at wonderlandonpoints@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you here next time.